Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? Welcome to the Lock Shop right here in Edmonton Sports Talk, presented by Play Alberta, live across the Edmonton Sports Talk audio streams, edmontonsportstalk.com. Tune in, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, live on YouTube, as well as wherever you get your podcast. Iwanyk in for Dusty, who'll be back on the air tomorrow, 6 a.m. Him, Lieutenant Eric, Benny, live on the Nielson Show on all those platforms I said. Edmonton Sports Talk's audio streams, YouTube, podcasted, but also live on 95.7 Cruise FM. Benny, you excited? You got to be on FM radio tomorrow.
First show. Like, I mean, just like, yeah, it's exciting. It's a big deal here. Obviously, the EST and everything. It's getting a lot of traction.
Well, but for you,
no, yeah,
you're on FM radio.
I know,
right
yeah,
off the bat.
I know, yeah.
I've never been on a show on FM radio. I've joined shows, but I've never been on an FM show, and I've been in this industry for 16 years. So look at you go.
Yeah, I mean, like it's gonna be pretty crazy, but to be honest with you, not a whole lot changes.
No,
so,
you have to do one thing differently.
I got to press this big green button that's beside me.
That's all you have to do. I think Dustin and I calculated yesterday like 6 times.
Sweet.
That's it. So it should all work rather well. So Dustin will be back tomorrow. Huss will join us momentarily. He was on his bus from Winnipeg to Regina, back to Winnipeg for the Labor Day. We had our bus with Edmonton Sports Talk and the Edmonton Elks to Calgary and back yesterday. So lots to recap with him on that. Play Alberta now has the lines up for week 14 in the Canadian Football League. Hopefully Huss hasn't seen them yet, because we'll try to do that game of Can you guess what the lines are? Matt at the Garrison says, press the button, Benny.
Yep.
Actually, I think you could right now. Nothing would happen. So I think you actually, I believe we have people from Cruise coming today. Jake from Cruise coming today, just to go over some things a little bit late. Yeah, so no, Huss, we should be able to play Guess the Lines with Huss on that one. And we'll have to find out. And I think Huss did his fantasy draft yesterday when it came to his NFL. I have my fantasy draft on Sunday with Dusty. I'm actually pretty happy with the team I ended up snagging with where I am. But we'll see how it fully goes. My bench, not the best. Took a flyer on Jordan Addison with Minnesota. I think that's going to pay off for me because I have receivers. That's a good one already. Are you in fantasy?
Yep.
Yeah. When did you draft?
So in a 12-man league, I was pick 11.
So you've already gone through it.
Yeah. This was just a couple weeks ago.
12-man, 11. That's great that you get the swing there, but it's a little late.
It is a little late.
Who'd you snag at 11?
I was very happy with who I got 11. I got Malik Neighbors at 11.
Nice.
So I was pumped about that. And then I took Josh Jacobs on the other side of the swing. But yeah, I'm very happy. Like everyone I've shown my team to, they've been like, this is a 12-man league. Yep. Wow.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'm very, very stoked with my draft.
Play Alberta promo codes for the month of September, both EST Sports and YEG50. Those are the 2 promo codes. Deposit 50 and you'll get a free $50 sports bet. So YEG50, EST Sports, deposit 50, get a $50 free sports bet. So yeah, lots to get to. And then Thursday, it all gets going. Like we're at a point where Thursday you get Eagles, Cowboys. Friday, you got the game in Brazil, I believe it is. But then you also get CFL football going. Saturday, CFL football, college football across the table. Sunday, first Sunday of the National Football League. Monday, you get Monday Night Football. And we're only a few weeks away. I would think is it late September or is it early October? Where you hit like a 40-day stretch of every day there's a football game. Whether it's Maction or some other game, we hit a stretch very soon here where there's a football game every single day, and it is truly fantastic. I see him on the screen, so let's bring him in right now from Winnipeg Sports Talk. It is Huss. And Huss, I see you made it back from Regina. No problem. How you doing today, Huss?
I mean, I'm doing well, all things considered. I've done a few of these, so I've been able to come together, have a voice. I mean, it's
You should have heard Eric today.
it was yeah. Listen, and I guess Dusty wasn't on the show today, so he had to do some even more heavy lifting, and he was probably put to the test.
Yeah, I threw it on. I'm like, oh, that voice. Like, and he's feeling good. He's doing good. It was just the voice that went on him. And he said like 5 a.m. he had no voice. So it slowly got better and stuff. But he was with Dave Jamieson. So if worst case, we had a pro next to him. But we had a great time going to Calgary. The result wasn't what, Elks fans were expecting. Wasn't as entertaining as a football game as the one that you got in Regina or they got out in Hamilton with the Argos. But overall, how was your 3 days leaving Winnipeg to Regina, being there for the game, and then heading back home?
It was phenomenal. I mean, I got to tell you, it was. If you're someone that likes the Canadian Football League, incredibly positive signs. And I would say the same thing for what we saw in Calgary yesterday, and obviously out in Hamilton. But the Labor Day rivalry between the Bombers and Riders goes back forever. But, we really saw, I think, sort of in the early 2000s, late 90s, that, a lot of people really started coming. They started bringing more tours, more buses and like that. And then obviously losing the 2020 season and just the weirdness of COVID. I mean, it just wasn't anywhere close to the same for the last few years. And last year, it seemed like there was some momentum, but it was wild, dude. Like there were way more Bomber fans in Regina this weekend. The Bombers, and I'll give them a tap. They know what they're doing in a lot of different ways. I mean, they love to encourage their fans to come out here and get into that. It's a great way to make people Bomber fans for life, honestly, when you be part of an event. And I saw it described, I think it was a rash that said, this isn't really a sporting event as much as it's really a cultural event on the prairies. And to some people that may sound insane, but it's accurate. The vibe in Saskatchewan all weekend was amazing. And I mean, Rider fans are ready to go, but the amount of Bomber fans, it blew me away. I mean, it was probably double what there was last year.
Wow.
And last year was really fun. Like, so I was saying the Bombers, there's a bar called Crave right downtown. Mm-hmm. And on the Saturday night, the Bombers put out everything to their fans. Hey, if you're a Bomber fan in Regina, come to Crave for around 7:30. And the first beer's on us. We want to thank you for making the trip.
Wow.
So they had the cheerleaders there. Wade Miller was there. And then the couple staff. And when you walked in, they just gave you a ticket. You went and got a beer. Dude, it was so packed in this place. You couldn't move on the patio. It's a relatively big area with 2 massive rooms, shoulder to shoulder. Like, I mean, I lasted probably 20 minutes there just because of being claustrophobic. But I mean, that was a great sign. And then, I mean, the tailgate party, I fired up some pics and stuff.
I saw some of the videos of that. It looked pretty cool. Like there was the band in the Riders gear. There was some Riders fans, but the amount of Bombers fans at Wayne's World.
Wayne's World. It's a
Wayne's
guy named
World,
Wayne.
yeah.
And his house. And again, like, I'm not sure if many people had been to the old Taylor Field, but his house, his backyard, back lane, and the minute the back lane finishes was the stadium footprint for the old Taylor Field. So the buses used to drop people off right around there so they could go into the game. And inevitably you'd have a bunch of Bomber fans that were crushing beers on the bus or whatever that would have a couple. And they were just getting picked off by flies by Regina police for open liquor. So Wayne, to his credit and never ending benevolence, says, you know what, you guys, just you step on here and you'll be fine. And that started the party that's now over 25 years old. And basically Bomber fans know, they go there before the game. I mean, there were hundreds of fans there. And then it's a very simple walk just down the street to the new stadium. And that's where you go back afterwards. Not as much of the party, but that's where the buses were.
Yep.
So it had the atmosphere of not only a festival-like atmosphere before the game, but when we got into the stadium, it was Like that was as great of an environment and feel for a big game as you'll have. I mean, obviously Winnipeg will be right up there this weekend for the Banjo Bowl, but that Labor Day game, I mean, the flyover, the crowd was going nuts, the rider intro, it was great. And then, yeah, the game delivered. I mean, I will say this from a betting perspective, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers had absolutely no business covering that spread. I mean, if you watch what happened through the late third quarter and fourth quarter, I mean, the Riders just simply took over that football game, and it really looked like it was over until the fumble on the punt return. And then truly quintessential CFL, Matt, one weird play turns a game on its side.
Yep.
The Bombers get the touchdown. They get the ball back. They go down. They put it in again.
Well, they get the ball back in a weird situation too, where it's like, did he just give up a safety here? Like, and then the right call happened, but watching that punt from Harris, and then Houston grabs that ball, is on the goal line. You're like, get out of the end zone, get out of the end zone, get out of the end zone here, dude.
At the start, we're thinking like, oh my God, did he get out? But I mean, you didn't really want that because then you're on your 1 yard line and it makes it almost.
But you're also
impossible.
at the moment you're thinking like, you're not thinking about the momentum part of this. You're thinking you give up a safety. That's the game.
100%. We kind of thought, oh my God, is this the way that they're officially going to put the nail in the coffin? Nope, it's a single 8-point game.
It's funny on the stats package. It has Trevor Harris single, and it's just like Trevor Harris of all the people getting credited with a single.
Well, and unfortunately, and I know this is going to be a huge topic today on WST. The guy that's feeling the heat today is Jason Hogan, the Bombers' new offensive coordinator, for not giving Brady Oliveira the rock enough. But I mean, that's the best call you've got on a 2-point convert to send the game to overtime. I mean, especially with Zach. Like, listen, Zach had a lot of great plays in that game. The one thing that I think anybody that is watching these games critically will tell you that the arm, listen, can he still play? Absolutely. But the arm isn't what it maybe was a few years ago. I mean, on some big deep balls, it's sort of a little bit underthrown. And those outs has not, like, they've just been a problem this year. I mean, there's been more pick sixes going back the other way. And obviously that was a pick too, but it's just not the best spot for Zach. And, you know, once again, you take your best player completely out of the picture in Brady Oliveira. So it was a real frustrating way to lose, but just stepping away. I mean, from a CFL perspective, I mean, what a show that both fan bases and both teams put on. And it was a hell of a way to get the weekend going.
Well, also almost getting the onside kick, a great kick. Milligan, it was Milligan, jumps up, like that ball wasn't going 10 yards, but he drops the ball. Castile was right there, almost gets it. The only thing I'll say, like, as they were driving down, I was watching the game with my dad, and we joked, like we talked about it last week, that 4 of the last 5 Labor Days were 2 points, and we're like, the Bombers are going to go score a touchdown, miss the 2-point, and it's going to be a 2-point ball game again. And then Dan Campbell has to return it to the house and makes it a 4-point ball game. I was like, there goes could have had 5 of 6. What a weird number, just right on 2. But that just set up what was an incredible weekend. And then transitioned into the Ticats Argos game. And I was doing my pregame show at the Burhouse in Calgary. And at one point, like on that second last play when Brissett caught it and was going into the end zone, like I stopped mid-show, mid-thought, because I'm like, what is going on in this game? And like, like the Ticats who, can't convert on a 3rd down, but they get the ball back. They score a touchdown, can't do the 2-point themselves. Brissett catching that ball in double man coverage, then decides to take it up down the house. And okay, if he doesn't step out of bounds, it's a touchdown. But if he had stepped out of bounds a second later before getting that end zone, they lose that football game, even though he gets them right into field goal range. But in the end, they get the kick. And what just a wild game. The Argos seem to be now maybe trending upwards. The Ticats, who've now lost 4 straight, could have been 5, are trending the other way. Montreal sitting back laughing with what they are seeing out east because they're hoping Davis Alexander and a lot of their injured players will be there right away. I don't know how much of that game you fully got to catch because you guys would have been driving back, I'm assuming. But what an unreal football game.
No, you know what? It was, and I'll give a shout out to our pal Carter Chen, who pops in and watches the Lock Shop every now and then. He had an incredible setup. We had like the clamp things for phones to put up. So we had the game on, got it onto a good speaker for the sound. So we were completely dialed in on this game. Nothing else to do as we drove back on the road from Regina. And I mean, Bo, Mr. Labor Day coming at you, think you got it done. But I did say to the guys, I'm like, this 2-pointer is huge because if they get it, they should be safe to at least get this one to overtime.
Yeah.
You would think. If not, I mean, there's still 18 seconds. This is
I was wondering about the Rouge.
I mean, just wait. Well, and to be honest, the Rouge would have been a fine scenario for them if they did kick it deep enough to get it in. Like, perfect. Move the ball up. You're down by 2. Doesn't really matter. And they go. But, I mean, that play, for him to catch it with the 2 Ticats sort of basically just a huge collision. They go down. He goes up, and then he's running in. And in real time, I just thought, oh my God, he's going to take this to the house. I think probably a lot of people, and maybe even the guy that had the ball, was sort of forgetting about the fact that this was the dying seconds of the game. And it's one thing, it's a walk-off, but you got to damn make sure that one of those 2 things happens. And it was getting close. And it was in some ways so fortuitous that he stepped out when he did, because honestly, a millisecond later, and we might be talking about a Hamilton win on one of the most bizarre endings to the game. But listen, I think Toronto is so far from done. They've got 2 huge wins in a row against a good BC, going into Hamilton for Labor Day. Obviously, I mean, I think the Argos are back. And the funny thing is, we're not talking about Chad Kelly at all.
Nope.
Because Nick Arbuckle is quietly putting together one of the most unique and special quarterback seasons in this league in a long, long time.
He leads the CFL in passing.
Out of football this year, and there he is.
He leads the CFL in passing. He's played one more game than Bo, but he leads Bo by 340 yards, I think. He's second in TDs thrown. Bo's at 24. He's at 23. He's only thrown 10 interceptions. Like, he's got a pretty good interception ratio. His completion percentage is almost 73%. You know, like, if the Argos find a way to snag a playoff spot, like, there will have to be some conversation about him maybe being the East nominee
Agreed.
for MLP.
I could
Straight
not agree
up.
more.
Like, he is just playing ridiculous football right now. And now for the Argos, like, they're on a bye. They get Edmonton after that. And Edmonton might be coming in reeling a little bit should they lose again to Calgary. Toronto knows that they almost had it here in Edmonton a few weeks ago. But Edmonton will have to go there. Like, it's, they sit 2 back of Montreal, 4 back of Hamilton. Both those 2 teams do have a game in hand, but also at the same time, they're only 2 back of BC for that 3rd spot in the East.
Oh, yeah.
And that, right, like, so they're back. They are fully back in the playoff picture, the Toronto Argonauts. That was a crucial win. They really should have beaten Ottawa. They blew that 22-1 lead. They are just playing some really inspiring football right now, and that was a wild game. And then Hamilton on the flip side, they're just reeling, and they've lost now 4 straight. They get Montreal this week. We'll see what happens with Davis Alexander and Tyson Philpott and Austin Mack, but that's not going to be an easy one for Hamilton. And after that, it's Winnipeg. They're hosting Winnipeg. So they're in a tough stretch here for a little bit. For us, we had a fun day yesterday heading down to Calgary.
Hey, you guys look good. You guys got some, maybe you knew someone with the TSN crew or something like that.
It's like we knew the play-by-play guy and the sideline reporter for that.
Yeah, Tommy looked good. Tommy, as always, living up to his name of Handsome Tommy. He's getting better too. He's not just a hockey guy, not just a one-trick pony, Mr. Gazzola, which is good. But I'll tell you what, you know who looked really good? And the guy, like when they showed, and like this is for me having, knowing you guys, and it took me 0.001 a second to pick out Big Uke.
Yeah, supersized Indiana Jones.
That crew, and then to see all you guys. No, it was awesome. And that is what it is all about. Again, you guys can do it on a one-day trip, which is fun. You kind of make a day of it and go back, and but it was great to see the Elks fans out there. And I'll tell you what, as much as that stadium is a dump and is not qualified, and I'm so angry that the Grey Cup is there next year, because that diminishes the league and the championship game to have it in that building. Calgary is a city, great, no problem, fun place to have games. That stadium doesn't cut the mustard. But there was a lot of concern for both Alberta teams, with where their crowds were. And tell you what, for one Monday, I guess, afternoon, we got back to a full house, and I think, trending positively, I think, for both teams right now.
Yeah, well, 27,000 yesterday. Saskatchewan was in town for Calgary the week prior, and they had a very good crowd for that one as well. Calgary's, it's weird. They're behind Saskatchewan in the standings, but it's very clear they're the best team in the Canadian Football League right now. So, hopefully Calgary keeps supporting this team throughout the rest of the season, because they've got a damn good football team that's going there. But yeah, it was actually funny with Big Uke. I do point this out there. We're all having a great time, and shout out to the Elks. We Dave in Section T, he showed up with 2 11-pound briskets, and he just plopped up in the tailgate, and we created our own little EST double E tailgate there, and everyone had fun. Pardon?
How was the meat?
I didn't get a jump in on it because I had to head off to go set up for pregame. I heard it was dynamite, and Dave in Section T, he knows what he's doing. And then the Elks, as we came off the bus, they gave us all little cowbells to help, bring a little extra noise as we're in the seat. So it was wonderful there. We were having a good time. We were bringing as much noise as we could. But it was funny because people were texting us some pictures of us showing up on the TSN cameras. And the part I'll go to is that, early on, Big Uke had his shirt buttoned up pretty, relatively, not all the way, but there. And then as the game's progressing, a button kept going. And then as I got back to the Burros and they did the little hit at the end, you just look up and all the buttons undone. And that's when Dwayne Ford called him the supersized Indiana Jones. But everyone had a great time. We got 2 buses. It was wonderful going down and coming back up. And can't wait to do it again next year. For those that missed out, we were sold out. We'll have to try to do a 3rd bus, but you're going to want to jump in on this. You guys do it out in Winnipeg to Saskatchewan. It's a wonderful time. How many years have you guys been doing that? You specifically?
Well, listen, Gary and I used to run a couple buses back in the old, early radio days before we even went to TSN. Organized buses have been running for over 25 years, for the full weekend. Our 1930 crew, this was the 2nd year.
There you go.
We doubled it up. We'll probably do 3 or 4 next year. So, hey, by the way, just quickly in chat, I got to shout out El Presidente. He was at the game in Mosaic. And I was up in the gods on the one side, so it was tough to hook up, but missed you, buddy. Yeah, it was a great game. And
but that's
Dawson, Big Hill.
You did it last year. You increased. We're hopefully go increase it next year with the help of the Double E. And it's what the CFL is all about. And it's what, this is why we need the CFL. If the CFL ever went away, we couldn't do these type of things. This is a lot of fun. And the game for us wasn't the best, but we still had a lot of fun. We still had a great time. The Elks couldn't score a touchdown or anything like that, but Calgary is a fantastic football team, and we saw that firsthand. And I've related Calgary to being a snake where they just slowly suffocate you. They slowly take the life out of you, and then they just finish you off when you have nothing left to fight with. And that's what they did yesterday. So we'll see what happens as Saskatchewan heads to Winnipeg next week or this upcoming weekend. Calgary comes here to Edmonton, and we'll do it all over again, but in our home cities. And I do have lines. I don't know if you've seen them yet. We'll play right away, see if you can guess the lines for the 4 games this weekend. We'll get to that. But just overall, great weekend for the Canadian Football League.
Oh, listen, it was amazing. It would have been great if we could have had another thriller in Alberta. That might have been too much to ask. But I will say this for the West. I mean, Argos win, absolutely massive for them at 4-8. I mean, the record isn't great. They do have that extra loss, but they're very much back in the mix and I think trending well. And for the West right now, Matt, I mean, it's hard to imagine it coming down. Like, I think that loss pretty much takes the Bombers out of the battle for first.
Yeah.
I mean, for the Bombers to win the West, they pretty much would have to run the table, I would say, which would include the two more games against Saskatchewan. Because I think realistically 12, 13 wins is probably going to be what it takes, like with where these teams are right now.
Yeah, well, Calgary's already at 8. Saskatchewan's at 3. I haven't even looked what Calgary's got the rest of their schedule because they're done with Saskatchewan, I believe, and they'd be done with Winnipeg. So Calgary gets Edmonton this weekend. They get a bye. They get BC, so they'll finally get BC. They get Montreal, so that could be a little difficult. They get BC again. They get Hamilton, though. They get Toronto. They get Edmonton. So there's a few wins there at the very least for the Calgary Stampeders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders as well. So you're right. Like, I'm looking at it from an Elks perspective, and I feel like third place in the West or a playoff spot might be 9 wins, and the Elks would need 5 of the remaining 7. So it is very, very difficult, the road for the Elks right now, but who knows? And the one team, the BC Lions are the very happy team after this weekend. They sit idle this past weekend, but they see the Bombers and the Elks both lose. So that was the games in hand both those teams had on them. And no ground was made up. So now they sit 2 points back of Winnipeg. They sit 2 points up on the Elks.
The only way it could have been better for
Toronto
BC, exactly, was if Toronto lost. Oh, and one other thing in chat, the guys saying, I think it was Dustin Nielson saying, Huss, were you mad seeing Adam Bighill in Calgary yesterday? Definitely not. I mean, happy for Biggie. Like, I'm amazed that he's playing. And, you know, listen, there's an element of, like, I don't know, didn't Bobby Orr play his last few games for the Chicago Blackhawks? Like, it's weird to see him there. But I'll tell you what, the guy is a football player. He lives for this. He wanted to keep playing. The Bombers moved on from him. So listen, good for Adam to get into the play. I mean, did he stand out? That was the one game we didn't get to see as much yesterday. What was he at all out there much, or did you see him at all?
I didn't even notice him. I'm not going to lie.
He had 4 tackles.
He had 4 tackles. I didn't see him too much. So I'd have to go back and look at that a little closely. But yeah, and like it was a little harder to fully pay attention to him. I was focused more a little bit on the Elks as they went onto those fields. But yeah, he was tied for 3rd when it came to the Calgary Stampeders defensive tackles wise with Onyeka, and then a couple guys a little bit higher than him on that one. Okay, Huss, week 14 coming up. BC, Ottawa, Hamilton, Montreal, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton. Let's take a look and see if you can guess these lines. Ottawa is home to the BC Lions. The Lions 5-6, Ottawa 3-8. I don't know if there's any sort of injury report for Drew Brown. I'm looking right here. Drew Brown was limited yesterday with the knee injury in practice, so I don't know if that's a good sign for him this weekend. But if you had to guess the line for BC Ottawa, what are you thinking?
I'll go BC -2.
Very close. More in BC's favor, -4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
maybe
that's
just assume that Drew Brown isn't playing.
Drew Brown isn't playing. Lions coming in maybe pissed off after the bye week with their loss to Toronto. We shall see. It's a big game for BC. Like, a great weekend for them from the Western perspective. Those same teams, it's the same matchups. So you're hoping Saskatchewan and Calgary could do you a favor and get a victory. This is you need this win. You can't blow it when you're taking on the worst team in the Canadian Football League in the Ottawa Red Blacks. So -4. Then you got the Ticats on the road in Montreal. This one I find interesting.
Ooh, do we have is Davis Alexander?
Their first practice would be today, I think, because that game's on Saturday as well. So first injury report will come out tomorrow, I think. Is that right? No, today, tomorrow, Thursday should be the injury report for all the Saturday games. And so there's nothing as of yet. And I haven't looked on Twitter to see if I
will assume that this is status quo for Montreal, that Davis Alexander isn't playing. And if that is the case, I think Hamilton will be a 1.5 point favorite.
It looks like the books are thinking the Owls aren't going to be healthy for this one because the Ticats are the favorite team. 4.5.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That's expecting fully that the Montreal Alouettes are still that team with Morgan and no Philpott and no Mac, and they are just a bad football team. That there's no one there. So like that, this is one. I will say this right now. Watch that injury report closely.
Oh, yeah.
If you see Philpott and Mac or Alexander playing, you might quickly want to jump on Al's plus 4.5 to get this, because the moment those guys are said that they're playing, or it looks more of an indication, this will move. And if they're not going to play, then yeah, it makes sense for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 4.5 is a lot of points. But yeah, if Davis Alexander if I told you Alexander's playing and Philpott or Mac are going to be there, what would you set that line at then?
I would, if Alexander's playing, and Philpott and Mac, I would say it is to be honest, I might even put Montreal as the favorite, but I would say let's call it a pick 'em at minimum, but it'd probably be Montreal -1, -2.
Yeah, I really am a fan of what the Owls are when they're healthy, and I would put that maybe a little bit higher for me. But the only concern is a re-aggravation of Davis Alexander. But yeah, at 4.5 right now, that's something to watch with Davis Alexander and that team and what's going on. Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, a 4-point ball game in the end. Winnipeg did cover this past weekend, but now it's all Princess Auto Field. They sold out Princess Auto Field yet again. This is going to be a wild game. This is going to be a fun game. What do you think this line is?
This should be a pick 'em, but I'll say Winnipeg -1.
Saskatchewan -1. But full pick 'em. -111 for the Bombers on the money line. Saskatchewan -119.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that is and I mean that's totally fair. I mean on a neutral field, I would say the Riders would be a 3.5 point favorite or so. So you put it in here, give them a nick. But yeah, I mean, I bet when this game goes off, we're basically looking at a pick 'em.
And finally, Battle of Alberta, part 2.
Edmonton
hosting Calgary. It looks like, I'll go on Ticketmaster quickly right now. Half this side, west side's looking to, it's selling very well. East side's still got a bid. It should be beautiful weather here. I would expect anywhere between 26 and 28,000 people at Commonwealth on Saturday, which will easily be the biggest crowd of the season for the Elks. I know that there is one bus coming up from Calgary for sure, but there's always going to be some Stamps fans at this one as well. But the Stampeders, best team in the CFL, beat the Elks by 21 points. Where would you set this line?
Stamps -7.
6.5.
6.5.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like that number, just because of the Stampeders, could be higher. Because, I talked about it last week, their average margin of victory is 13.8 or whatever. It's bumped up to 15. They are now, on average, beating a team by over 2 touchdowns in their wins this season. And so it's like the Elks, they made their mistakes, a fumble at the Calgary 18, a missed field goal at the end of the first half. Calgary quickly gets a field goal, 5-point swing to end the first half. The punt return touchdown. They made their mistakes, and Calgary just capitalized, and Calgary made no mistakes, but it wasn't by all, Calgary didn't look like this flashy, amazing team. But I think that's just who they are. They know what level they need to. I relate them to what the Bombers have been for a number of years, where they'll do what they need to. If they ever need to elevate, they'll elevate and get the victory. But if they don't need to, they'll just give you what they need to go get that victory. And I just don't know if
Vernon after the game sort of said that he didn't play particularly well. Sort of, he was just a big upping the defense for didn't think that they played at that level. But to be honest, I mean, the difference between the cover for the Stamps was, that special teams play to me. I mean, if that doesn't happen and, maybe Edmonton gets one. I mean, that's the thing. When you're kind of punching up, you need something to go your way.
Yes.
Kind of little out. When it happens the other way, basically there you have that swing. But I mean, I thought Edmonton hung in there pretty well. I mean, for the most part throughout the game, especially the defense. I mean, I thought the defense played well against Calgary that has done well. But, we've seen what this Calgary defensive unit has just given teams fits all season long. I mean, the Bombers,
and they do it by
Riders,
just sending 4.
Listen,
they don't even send the blitzes.
Giants beat the Patriots, the undefeated team. I mean, if you can get to the quarterback consistently sending 4, it changes everything else. And the job of the quarterback becomes so much more difficult because there's extra guys back when you're trying to take advantage of that rush.
So that's going to be the challenge for the Elks. And then Niles Morgan, he got banged up yesterday. Jake Serezna got banged up yesterday. So we'll have to see what their status is moving forward, as is Curly Gittins Jr. in the receiving corps. So the Elks, they left Calgary with some concerns injury-wise as well, although Nick Anderson, maybe he'll be back in the lineup for this team this upcoming Saturday. So, the 6.5, it makes sense to me. And honestly, I still feel, I would personally right now feel pretty good about Calgary at 6.5, just with how good of a football team they are. And the Elks, this is desperation mode now. That they need a split of Calgary. Otherwise, with their remaining 6 games, I believe it would be, they really would almost have to run the table to be in a conversation for a playoff spot. And that just seems very difficult, especially as a team that hasn't been a Western opponent this year. And they've got a lot of Western games the rest of the way. So that will be week 14 coming up in the Canadian Football League. You had your fantasy draft yesterday. How did it go? How's your running back situation? Did you make out?
It's a hell of a lot better than it was before. We'll see. This was a weird one because this was we kind of do a little media league with everyone here in Winnipeg. And 12-team league, I was 6th. So as much as, you don't have a long time between picks, I actually, this year I found I really liked being in the middle because you don't really get screwed by any big runs on a position. And this is the one super flex league that I'm in, where you can play 2 quarterbacks. I mean, that flex option allows you to play QBs. So they're much more important and they go earlier in the draft. So I got Jaden Daniels at 6, which I was very happy about. I was hoping to get one of the top 4 QBs at the 6th pick overall. And I think Jamar Chase went, B. John Robinson went.
So is this a keeper?
And one other. This isn't a keeper.
No, this is all just a redraft. Okay.
This is not a keeper. This is a straight redraft league. So anyways, I got Daniels. And then coming back to me, Derrick Henry, who's about as reliable as they come. And then coming back to me in the 3rd round, I got Chase Brown.
Oh.
So I loved my first 2 picks. And then Trey McBride dropped to me in the 4th round. I think, Brock Bowers went earlier just before my other picks, and he just stayed off. So I got really good at tight end. My running backs are good. My quarterback's great. And then I had to try to get some value plays at the wide receiver position. But I think I did well. I mean, I got Cortland Sutton. I got Calvin Ridley. I think both of those guys are going to have big, big years. I think Jacoby Myers is really slept on. You can get him much later, and he'll actually be quite good. So, yeah, the team, the squad, at least for this one, and there'll be a lot of beaking between guests on our show and whatnot. This is an important one. So we are looking good. Have you spent much time looking at the NFL lines for the weekend yet?
Actually, I haven't. I should open that up right now. Eagles 8.5 on Thursday. Chiefs -3 on Friday. Is there anything standing out to you? Like throughout the whole weekend?
You know what's been standing out is how many short lines there are and how many 2.5s there are on the board. Like 2.5 is the number of the week.
Yeah.
Like, folks, you can check this out, but like you've got Buccaneers 2.5 against the Falcons. Miami or New England 2.5 versus the Raiders. Steelers 2.5 versus the Jets. Niners 2.5 against the Seahawks. Packers 2.5 against the Lions. Rams 2.5 against the Texans. Like, I can't ever remember how many lines of 2.5. Usually they'll just throw threes up. But that isn't the case so far. But the bottom line is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games of field goal or less with the spreads. So I think this is going to be a real fun week to put together a little money line parlay of just teams that you think you can win, considering how close the numbers are. But I can't wait. I cannot wait for this entire week. And with the Chiefs playing Friday night is just perfect because I'll have the full NFL Sunday, the Banjo Bowl on Saturday. And then, by the way, as much as I'm so excited about the Chiefs Charger game, dude, the Sunday nighter, like this is game of the year potential in week 1. Like, shout out to the schedule maker of the NFL. We can criticize a lot of things they do. This is such an unbelievable way to finish off the first NFL Sunday. Bills, Ravens, and it's a straight pick 'em. A pick 'em.
I got the Ravens -1 showing up. Like it's
yeah, but what's the number? Like
-118 versus -108. The
yeah,
Ravens
like what's the money line?
-118 versus -108.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's close. I hate the schedule the Ravens have to start the season. Like I get it from your perspective. I get it from everyone else's perspective. I do not want to have to deal with the Bills week 1. I do not want to have to deal with. I want a nice, just easy game to ease into this season, and not have. Where's Cleveland? Where give me that. Give me even. I'll even at this point right now just take Pittsburgh to a degree. It's like the Ravens' first 6 is a tough schedule to start, but it's out in Buffalo. But like if you get this victory, man, it sets your season off nicely. For either team, you're feeling really good going the rest of the way. But the Bills, at the very least, they know that they're in a division that is they should handle quite easily. The Ravens, they'll have the Bengals. They're who knows what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. They at least have the Browns, but the Ravens are just known for finding a way to blow one against the Browns every season. This is I'm going to be nervous all day Sunday.
You guys killed the Bills in Buffalo last year, didn't you?
Yeah, but then what happened in the playoffs? That was last year. The Bills couldn't stop the run. The Bills had no answer to the running attack of the Baltimore Ravens in that game. But then in the playoffs, led by a couple of drops by Mark Andrews, led by a fumble in a poor opportunity moment by Lamar Jackson, Bills, walked away from that victory to get the date with the Kansas City Chiefs. Ravens need to find a way to do it again, but they're on the road. They're in Buffalo. It's not easy. I'll say this, at the very least, knowing the Ravens have to go to Buffalo, I'm glad. Here's the one bright side I'll for sure take is at the beginning of the season, it's not a snow game or something like that. Now, Baltimore is somewhat used to they can deal with that weather, but I'd rather them not have to deal with it at all. That this is straight up. The Ravens offense could be the Ravens offense and the Ravens defense is the Ravens defense, but we'll see if that Ravens defense is legit, one of those top units once again. And then a big game for the Buffalo Bills and all that. So huge one there. I will say one number that has stood out. If you believe in J.J. McCarthy, if you believe that he is a quarterback, I seen the Vikings at -1.5 or 1.5 against the Bears. Against the Bears on a Monday night. If J.J. McCarthy is a quarterback you believe in, that 1.5 against the Bears, I really like that one for the Minnesota Vikings. So that's the one line that actually kind of stood out to me. But you're right, there's a lot of just close ones here that you might want to just look at a little bit of money line parlay. But this is what makes September great, is looking at all these are the lines. They like sports betting's for a lot of things. It's for all sports. But there's something about football. We've been doing it all year when it comes to the Canadian Football League. And now you throw into the mix the National Football League. And this is just a wonderful time when you're looking at where to play some money for any given weekend and then go watch those games throughout any given weekend.
The Vikings one, like I heard some very concerning numbers of rookie quarterbacks making their first starts on the road as underdogs. But here's the thing. As much as like I'm in a wait and see. Like, I do like JJ McCarthy. I think he'll be good, but I would understand if it took a few games. I have major concerns about Caleb Williams. He's never been under center in his life. And that's been a common refrain we've heard from Bears training camp all last month. He's not that comfortable. It's weird for him. He doesn't, a lot of the things that Ben's asking him to do, he's never done before. And there'll be a lot of pressure on him. I mean, you got the rookie quarterback going up against the sophomore quarterback. And funny enough, remember week 1 last year? Caleb Williams' debut, Bears versus Tennessee, and Will Levis was the second-year quarterback. And the Titans were up 17 in that game. And then Will Levis just decided to give Chicago 2 of the worst turnovers of the entire season. And the Bears got back into that game and won it. Maybe Caleb will be the Will Levis this year. And JJ will be the one that'll be getting it. And the primetime games are so good. Packers Lions. Like, if you had to do a power poll of like the top games of the week, I mean, certainly I think it's clearly Buffalo,
Yes.
Baltimore is the number 1 game on the docket. I think you'd have to probably say Detroit, Green Bay.
That's number 2.
Is number 2. Chiefs, Chargers in the mix. I would say the Tampa Atlanta game is pretty intriguing. I mean, a lot of star power, big divisional game early on.
Pittsburgh, New York is just intriguing for the Aaron Rodgers back to New York.
Yep. I mean, I'm looking forward to Giants Commanders. And by the way, I'm just going to throw this out here right now. I'm buying low on the Giants this year. I think the Giants are going to be significantly better. I think their defense is going to be really good. I think Abdul Carter might run away with the defensive rookie of the year. If you want to get that, it's just under 2-1 right now. Usually I don't hit a lot of those, kind of shorter favorites for like awards where there's tons of players, but he just seems like he's going to change that defense. And then the other game that, listen, Jacksonville, Carolina, I understand that's probably not, on the multiplex when you're putting it together. Who isn't intrigued about what Travis Hunter is going to do on both sides of the football? And I am pretty excited about Bryce Young, the comeback story, Teteroa McMillan, Edmonton's own Chuba Hubbard.
Texans Rams.
Great matchup.
Will be a great one as well. And that's part of that late window with Green Bay and Detroit as well. Did you see the Micah Parsons news from yesterday too, by the way? Dealing with some back issue maybe?
Yeah. Jerry. I told you. No.
You want to know, and you generally, teams have to be aware of all medical data. So the Packers would have had to been aware of all this.
Yeah.
The fact that there's a question about week 1. Interested. Like, this might shift a little bit depending how this all goes. Then maybe the Cowboys have a little bit of sympathy go their way from, the Cowboys faithful towards Jerry Jones or something. But, that game in itself, NFC East matchups are generally pretty exciting too. So the fact that it's Philly hosting Dallas, Dallas is very much going to want to go spoil all of this. They add, with CeeDee Lamb, they add George Pickens to the mix for the receiving core. Thursday's going to be a pretty fun game too, I would have to imagine, with what we're getting set. So it's going to be great.
Here's another quick thing, because these next couple days are when you want to get any other futures bets in. I am in on Dak 12-1 to lead the league in passing.
That's with that receiving core
and that defense now without Micah Parsons. I mean, listen, I'm not sure that they even win 6 games, but if he stays healthy without much of a running game, it is going to be CeeDee Lamb. Like, if you want to go CeeDee Lamb as the top receiver, I'm here. I've got time for that as well. But Dak's always been a guy that's been in that sort of top 3 when he's been healthy. I mean, like, just think of the garbage time they're going to get this year in some of these games. I think that Dak statistically could have a monster season. I'm not expecting the team to compete in the NFC East, but for fantasy and for betting purposes, bottom line is I saw 12-1 hung up on Dak, and I love that value. So we'll be going for big fantasy stats from Dak all year, even if they're giving up 40 plus on the other side. See what Brian Schottenheimer has for us.
And it's hopefully there's still just quite a few losses in there too, because I always like the microphone in front of Jerry Jones's face after a loss, and in front of a win, it's not as fun. When Jerry Jones is the answer for a loss, that will be something. Hey, then later this month we do get Green Bay and Dallas on the schedule too, so that's going to be fun with that Micah Parsons. It's an exciting time. Before we know it, NHL training camps will be going. You'll have been in Kansas City. We're in the stretch run of the playoffs for baseball. Yankees 2.5 up on the Yankees. Yankees and the Red Sox, both those two teams creeping up a little bit on the Toronto Blue Jays. A huge series coming up this week. I think it's this weekend between the Jays and the Yankees, where the Jays could really solidify that AL East, or at least with them and the Yankees, or the Yankees could try to maybe close that gap. That's going to come up on the weekend after, the Jays finish off their series against Cincinnati, Friday, Saturday, Sunday out in New York, and then they get Houston, though. But this is a wonderful time of the year. Michigan, Oklahoma, I think, is the big college football game this weekend. And,
speaking of college football,
Arch Manning didn't exactly have a solid performance on Saturday. I'll tell you that much.
I got it. I'll say this, though. I'm going to give it a bit more time for Arch because, going into the Horseshoe to play the defending national champion, I don't think you could possibly have a tougher spot for your first start. I will also say this. If college football was like soccer, there was Bayern Leverkusen fired their manager after 2 matches. Kellen DeBoer's head coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide might be on the watch for getting gassed soon, especially if this was soccer. Losing to Florida State, he's lost 4 games in a year and a game to unranked team, or there was some stat I saw that he did something over the last 2 seasons that Nick Saban didn't do in his entire time with the Crimson Tide. I'll have to find what that full stat is, but not a good start for Alabama when you go to Florida State and you got rolled against the Seminoles. So that's all. I always enjoy that. At the SEC, they had a rough first weekend. So I will take that any day. And my U with the big victory against Notre Dame. So I'm very happy about that. Hey, they look good. They got Beck from Georgia. Yeah. It's just weird. It's like pros now, like with guys switching teams or whatever. It's all pros. When it comes to coaching, and yes, the guy in Bama he's not going to have a fun week. No. But I had to quietly chuckle during my draft last night as I kept on looking over at the television and seeing TCU put up touchdown after touchdown after touchdown on the hoodie. Who released a depth chart with 0 names on it. Yeah, well, starting from scratch. That's it. Well, anyways, not a Belichick guy, so love to see him get his ass kicked again last night. Haas, what's coming up on WST? Well, we're going to dive into, a heavy reaction from Labor Day. John Hodge from 3 Down Nation's going to jump on the program. Connor Wright, Raymond, I'll hit it. We'll also have John Horn, Felix Auger-Aliassime, speaking of which, he's got a big match coming up in the quarterfinals, and a winnable game. He's a plus 130 underdog. But anyways, we'll talk more about that with John Horn. Brandon Ricky's going to pop by. He's getting ready for the football season. JBM as well, and a lot of Labor Day aftermath from the CFL, and start looking ahead to NFL kickoff. It's going to be fun. Perfect, Haas. Have a good one. Dusty will be back tomorrow. I'll talk with you on Thursday. Right on, buddy. Take it easy. There's Haas WST. Go check him out, and Remus on the Winnipeg Sports Talk YouTube channel. Before I wrap up here on Play Alberta, or the Lock Shop here presented by Play Alberta, I did want to build an early CFL
parlay. I am keeping Riders Bombers out of this. I just outright am. That one I think is just too close to call. Here's what I'm doing. And I know Elks fans, this isn't as good, but with what the Stamp's done, I've got to do this. I've got BC -4. I've got Calgary -6.5, an early bet. I am going to guess that Davis Alexander is going to make a return. I'm putting it behind that, and I'm going to have the Owls 4.5, +4.5. We'll get that boosted. It's +530 right now when I put it into Play Alberta, and I'll get a little bit of a boost there. So that'll be a little early lock shop parlay for today. A reminder on the promo codes, EST Sports or YUG50, deposit 50 and get a free $50 sports bet. That was the lock shop for this Tuesday. Coming up next, two guys in a goalie, Tommy, Gager, Cass. We got EST Afternoons, Hernan and Gager, and then Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne. Reed back in the host chair after a couple of weeks off. That's all to come here in Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta, across our audio streams, across YouTube, as well as podcasts, and then also at 6 o'clock on our audio streams, a replay of the VIP Golf Show. On behalf of us, I'm Matt Iwanyk. Thanks for tuning into the Lock Shop. Two guys coming up in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.